Imagine if a Shaolin Temple master, an expert in Kung Fu, enrolled in an ordinary school. Would there be an uproar? What would happen to the other children? This is the intriguing setup of our story. The movie opens with a boy named Lee, but Lee isn't just any boy. He is been training in Kung Fu at the Shaolin Temple since birth. The temple is his home. One day, he suddenly feels that what he is about to do might be wrong. So he approaches his guru to ask for forgiveness. Then out of nowhere, a warrior attacks him from behind. Lee is shocked but seems ready for the challenge. He blocks the attack, and though the warrior throws him against the wall, Lee springs back into action, leaping through the air. Lee moves so quickly that before the warrior can react, Lee has already defeated him. Next up is a swordsman, a master of sword fighting, but even he is no match for Lee's kung fu skills. After defeating the swordsman, Lee faces his third opponent. This third warrior is a bit different. He is meditating, but when he hears Lee's voice, he opens his eyes and flicks part of his rosary at a mirror. A bright light reflects off the mirror and blinds Lee for a few seconds. In the blink of an eye, the warrior throws Lee into the air and pins him to the ground. It looks like that the warriors might win, but Lee isn't ready to give up. He escapes the warrior's grip and fierce battle ensues between the two. In the end, Lee triumphs. He bows his head and exits the temple. His guru approaches and says, "You have done well. In this exam, you have shown your abilities. Now you will get the chance to attend the best school in the city." Lee moves to the city and lives in a house with 3 other people, a father and his 2 children. The father is a scientist and a friend of the guru, which is why Lee is allowed to stay there, ready to start his new life. Lee settles into the city. At this new school, Lee meets a boy named Fang. Fang is a 15 and specializes in Taekwondo. He has a younger sister, Zhang Xiang, who adores him. Lan, who runs the school's Taekwondo club, is always pointing out Fang's mistakes to help him improve. Meanwhile, Lan's brother is constantly thinking about food. These 4 friends are close and live next door to each other. Actually, Lee has to stay at Lan's house. Lan's father, Dr. Hain, is a dedicated scientist who works day and night. After his wife passed away several years ago, Dr. Hain became even more consumed by his work. Dr. Hain is building a very special machine, so special that some of the city's criminals have set their sights on it. Dr. Hain tells the kid he will be home soon, but Lan isn't happy because her father rarely keeps that promise. Still, the doctor assures Lan that he is coming home soon and says he sent her a gift. As Lan opens the gift, there is a knock at the door. It's Lee. Lan brings him inside and shows him his room. Meanwhile, Dr. Hain is captured by the criminals. The gang leader Larry threatens Dr. Hain and demands he hand over the special machine. Dr. Hain insists there is no such machine. He explains that he is working on a technology that would allow his children to hear a robot speak in their mother's voice. But Larry doesn't believe him. Looking at footage from CCTV cameras, Larry discovers that the special machine has actually been delivered to Dr. Hain's house. He orders 2 of his goons, Sloppy and Fist, to retrieve it. Sloppy and Fist are thrilled. It's their first job since becoming punks. They wear strange outfits to avoid being recognized and stake out Lan's house. They plan to break in a night but later decide it will be easier during the day when the kids are at school. Meanwhile, Lee is adjusting to life in the new city and picking up new skills. He notices Lan watching our Taekwondo matches and becomes fascinated by the sport. However, when he meditates at night, he is disturbed by Yu, who is sitting nearby playing video games. An argument breaks out between them, but it quickly turns into a gaming session together. Later, as Lan opens her gift, she finds a cute panda keychain, not realizing that it's actually a flash drive, something the criminals are desperately after. When Lan presses a button on the panda, it prompts her to enter a password. Confused, Lan asks aloud, "What kind of password?" And assumingly the system sets that as the password. When she turns on the panda, she hears her mother's voice. It's an AI that speaks in her mother's voice. The next morning, Lee, Yu and Lan head off for their first day at school. Meanwhile, Sloppy and Fist watch the kids leave and get ready to put their plan into action. As they spy the panda keychain hanging from Lan's bag, they plot to steal it. On the way to school, Lan introduces Li to Fang. Soon after, one of the goons sneaks up and snatches the panda from Lan's bag. Li sees this and immediately chases after the thief. With his quick reflexes, Li catches up to the goon. Fang joins the chase and together they manage to beat him. However, the goon isn't ready to give up. He snatches the panda again and takes off running. This time, Li, Fang and Yu work together, trapping the goon in a garbage can and rolling him into the street. At school, the kids in Li's class are amazed to meet a Shaolin warrior. They bombard him with strange questions like, "Can you ever get married?" and "Show us some kung fu." The teacher calms them down, reminding them to save it for playtime. During recess, the coach informs Li and Li that his ability and strength will be tested next month. Any child who doesn't pass the test won't be able to advance to the next grade. Yu gets nervous after hearing this because he is overweight and lazy. The coach asks the kids to run 100 meters. Li completes 2 laps in the blink of an eye while the others are still on their first. Next, the coach tells everyone to do push-ups. Li, being an expert, easily does over 100 while most of the kids can barely manage 2. Eventually, Li even starts doing one-arm push-ups, amazing everyone with his strength and skills. Then the coach asks the group to jump as high as they can. This should be easy for Li, but Yu trips and falls flat on his face. Meanwhile, at Dr. Hain's lab, Larry ties him to a chair and beats him with a golf club. That night, the goons breaks into Lan's house. Li sees them and tries to scare them by hiding behind a toy. However, the goons spot him and attack, but Li fights back on his own. By the time Lan arrives, the goons have already stolen what they think is the panda and made their escape. Li explains what happened, but Lan and Yu think he is joking. Later, they realize that the goons mistakenly took a bottle of perfume instead of the panda. Larry, who needs to sell the device within 3 days, panics when he finds out the goons grabbed the wrong item. Furious, he hits them with golf balls and orders them to retrieve the real device immediately. The next day, all the kids gather to watch Fang's taekwondo match. Meanwhile, Yu and Lan are chatting about 2 odd-looking girls sitting in the back row, not realizing they are actually the goons in disguise. The goons spot the panda on Lan's bag and wait for the right moment to steal it. Li then challenges Fang to a friendly match, and all the kids rush to see who will win. Taking advantage of the distraction, the goons try to steal the panda from Lan's bag, but in their haste, one of their bigs gets caught in the bag. The match between Li and Fang is intense, with both giving it their all. In the end, they agree not to hurt each other and call it a draw. Suddenly, the crowd notices the goons and everyone recognizes them. All the kids team up to attack the goons. In desperation, the goons threaten a little girl and manage to escape with the device. The children go to the principal and tell the whole story, and the police are called. Li feels guilty, thinking that if he hadn't challenged Fang, Lan wouldn't have left her bag unattended. But the others reassure him that it's not his fault. Eventually, Larry gets his hands on the special device. He runs a program on his computer, but it requires a password to activate. He calls in several hackers, but none of them can crack the password, which makes Larry furious. Then he notices Dr. Hain's phone and sees a birthday card from Lan. Seizing the opportunity, Larry promises to attend Lan's birthday party, pretending to be Dr. Hain. The next day, Lan and her friends are busy preparing for the party. Everyone else goes shopping for gifts, leaving Lan home alone. Just then, she gets a message from her father saying he is outside. But when she steps out, some men grab her and shove her into a van. Li and his friends spot Lan being taken away and immediately give chase on their bikes. They follow the van all the way to Dr. Hain's lab, where they start searching for Lan. Inside, Larry and his business partner argue over the device password. Larry wants to sell the device the next day, but is frustrated because he still can't find the password. In a fit of rage, he holds a knife to Lan's throat and demands the password. Panicked, Lan blurts out, "What kind of password?" Suddenly, the program activates on its own. Outside, Li and Fang take down the 2 goons guarding the base in a matter of seconds, but soon they face off against Bardley, Larry's most dangerous enforcer. Bardley is a skilled fighter, and even when Li and Fang team up, they struggle to defeat him. Meanwhile, in the lab, just as Larry's deal is about to go through, Yu sneaks in and rescues Lan and Dr. Hain. Lee arrives soon after and starts fighting off the goons. At the same time, Larry tries to escape with the bag containing the flash drive, but Dr. Hayne, Yu and Lan team up to stop him, ultimately overpowering him. Meanwhile, Frank is still battling Barley, but it's proving to be a difficult fight. Just as Barley seems unbeatable, Lee returns and helps Frank. Together, they finally defeat Barley. Moments later, the police arrive and arrest all the goons. Later, the principal awards Lee and Yu for their bravery. And here the movie ends. So friends, how did you like the movie? Do tell us in the comment box, and for such movie explanations, subscribe to Movie Recap English. See you in the next movie. Till then, bye bye, take care.